Hey Frag fam, Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. Well, it is Monday, which means it is time for the weekly fragrance haul. We skipped it last week, and that's just because I did not get enough fragrances in from the previous week to actually warrant making that video. However, within the last 2 weeks, I've picked up about 8 different fragrances, a lot to talk about, a lot of exciting fragrances here. So I hope you guys are interested in hearing about them. And if you guys are, please stick around. But first, let's roll that intro. Alright, welcome back. So before we get into the video, I just want to add a quick reminder, and I've been doing this every few videos. Now, if you guys are unaware, I do have a Facebook fragrance group. I started it about a month ago. I'm trying to grow it, so be sure to go join it if you're watching this video or if you're a subscriber or both or whatever. It's going to be linked down in the description down below, and I'll probably put a picture on screen as well. So please go join that if you're seeing this message. Additionally, for the structure of this video, how we're going to do this is I'm going to be starting with the fragrances that I picked up the longest amount of time ago, and then we're going to be ascending from there, basically getting to the more recent pickups. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into the first fragrance. So starting with the first fragrance, we actually have 2, and that's because I picked these both up at the same time. They are these 2 travel atomizers from Amouage. We have Boundless right here, and then this one is Material. So these are the 2 new releases from Amouage. I think they got released about a month ago at this point, and these smell absolutely fantastic. I definitely want to pick up full bottles once I go through these travel atomizers, and I think these are 10 mils each. It's just a guess. It doesn't really say anywhere on the bottle or anything like that, but these were actually gifted to me, so I didn't buy these. These were given to me by Justin Copeland. He actually had an extra pair of these, and he's a good buddy of mine, so he offered these to me free of charge, which I really do appreciate, and these honestly smell fantastic. So it wasn't just a nice addition to the collection to have, but this is actually 2 fragrances that I can see myself wearing. And my favorite of the 2 is this one right here, which is Boundless. So this is a spicy, lightly citrusy, but very kind of boozy, almost has this fizzy Coca-Cola vibe to it kind of fragrance. It's very complex and well blended. It's really hard to pick out like a note here and there. There is blood orange in here, which gives you that citrusiness, and blood orange typically has a little bit of a sweet side to it, which just plays to the strengths of this fragrance. This is a very sweet fragrance. You also get benzoin, which is the resin that kind of gives this a like fizzy quality in a way. I almost get a similar scent to Roja Parfums Enigma or Creation E, if you guys are familiar with that fragrance. This has a similar feel, but this is a lot spicier. I would even say a little bit sweeter, and this is just an amazing fragrance all around. No complaints here. I haven't been able to do a full wearing yet at this point, just because it's been pretty hot out, and this is a fragrance that is pretty hard to wear in the heat. Nonetheless, it smells fantastic, and I really appreciate Justin gifting this one to me. And then of course, the other one, Material right here. Like I said, I got this at the same time. This is more of a vanilla centric fragrance. There's patchouli in here. I think they use Madagascar vanilla in this particular fragrance. You get some vetiver, there's benzoin in here as well. So this is another sweet fragrance, and honestly, this is sweeter of the 2. This is an amazing kind of leafy, chocolatey, very vanilla centric fragrance, very, very sweet and creamy, and this smells like it's just heavenly. If you like vanilla in your fragrances, you really need to check out Material. I think Cecile Zerokian did this one. She's also known for doing fragrances like Nishane Annie, which that is a vanilla heavy fragrance as well. So she does vanilla very well, and this is one of the best that I've tried as far as just being a vanilla heavy fragrance. So another dark, definitely like fall winter oriented fragrance, something I'm gonna have a hard time wearing just because it is very hot, but something I look forward to wearing in the fall and the winter. So again, the other fragrance that Justin gifted me, it's this one from Amouage called Material. So my next pickup, I actually tried this when I did the second collab with Justin Copeland, the one where we are guessing the fragrance houses. This is one of the fragrances that he brought. This is from the house of Mancera. This is called Kumquat Wood, and this is a really, I would also say, a sleeper fragrance from Mancera. I haven't honestly really heard of this one mentioned at all previously. I think I've seen one other person recommend it to me before, and then of course Justin brought it, but outside of that, I've really heard not much at all from this. So this is a very nice citrusy, spicy, green, kind of woody fragrance. You get grapefruit in here, which is my favorite. Citrusy note, there's bergamot as well. There are spice notes. There's a little bit of this kind of floral mid, but it's not too heavy. This is really dominated by the grapefruit, the spices, and then the cedar. And there's actually a little bit of vetiver in this fragrance as well. It's a very tame, mellow vetiver. Honestly, one of the cleanest that I've smelled. I think more of the green, kind of woody side of this fragrance is really coming from the cedar wood. And to me, this is kind of like a cleaner Terre de Hermes, the original, the Eau de Toilette. So if you guys are familiar with that fragrance, basically if you like that one, you're guaranteed to like this one. This just smells like an improved version of that, a lot cleaner, not as much of that like cleaner smell that some people talk about, which I kind of get that vibe from that fragrance, but not as much as some other people. Nonetheless, like I said, if you like Terre de Hermes, the original, the Eau de Toilette, this is like a better version of that fragrance, and you should definitely check this one out. So my next pickup from the house of Mancera, that is Kumquat Wood. So moving right along, the next fragrances that I picked up, again, I actually got two of them at the same time, and these were sent to me for review. So coming from the house of Authenticity Parfums, I got Fresh Boss right here, and then the other one, Summer Vibes. Now I did first impressions on these, so if you missed that, I will link that above with an iCard. Additionally, I did do first impressions with Amouage, Boundless, and Material as well, so maybe I'll link those videos above if you want to check those out and get a little bit more of an in-depth look at what I think of those fragrances. Nonetheless, from Authenticity Parfums, I'm just going to start with this one, Fresh Boss, which is, I think, the fragrance that I talked about first when I did my first impressions. This is a very clean, minty, kind of woody fragrance. You get some citruses in here. I think there is peppermint, if I remember correctly. There's some vetiver in here as well, some other woody notes and green notes. This is a very clean, fresh, icy fragrance. Like, honestly, one of the most cooling, icy kind of feeling fragrances that I've ever smelled. This has an insane cooling effect, and it's not like a mint that you can really smell so much, but like I said, it kind of provides that minty effect, very icy, cooling, and refreshing. And there's citruses in here adding a bright side, but there's a little bit of this green side as well. This kind of gives me similar vibes to, I think it's called Cool Wave. It's a Gillette gel deodorant that I used to use, and it smells similar, but of course improved, a little bit more depth here, but that's just kind of like something that you can think about if you've ever tried that deodorant. Nonetheless, a nice, cooling, refreshing fragrance for the summer. That is Fresh Boss from Authenticity Parfums. And then of course the other fragrance I got is this one right here called Summer Vibes. Now this one, this has vetiver in it as well. There's more citruses in here. I forgot some of the other notes. Oh, I think cannabis is one of them as well. So you get this kind of cool, bitter, herbal quality from this fragrance. Very citrusy at the top as well. There is kind of a green, like woody aspect to this as well, but there's also this soapy quality. To me, I think in the first impressions I said that this kind of has like a bubble bath vibe to it, which I stick behind. It doesn't smell exactly like that, but it has this prominent soapiness, and I can just envision bubbles. So very clean, fruity, more on the soapy side and not so much like the citrusy green side. Nonetheless, another good fragrance for the summer from Authenticity Parfums. That is Summer Vibes. So the next fragrance I picked up is coming from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and ever since I've sampled this fragrance, I've known I needed a full bottle. This thing smells amazing. Luckily, I found somebody on Facebook selling one for a really good deal for a basically brand new bottle, so I jumped on it. Again, from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, this is Gentle Fluidity Silver. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. And if you guys did not know, there's actually two fragrances in the Gentle Fluidity line. One is the gold edition, and then I have the silver edition right here. I actually used to have the gold edition, but I wasn't as big of a fan of that one. And technically that one's actually tailored for women or marketed for women. This one is the masculine version. And the cool thing with these fragrances, the both of them, is they have the same note breakdown, but the difference is he has amped up how some of the notes are more prominent in one over the other. But again, the note breakdowns are identical. As far as this one, you get a ton of juniper berry, and it's very front and center. Has this very light, kind of astringent vibe to it, where it's not like harsh and chemically, but it does have this sharpness to it, and it's very fruity and sweet as well, coming from some vanilla. You get a nice woody backbone in here, and there's a spiciness as well coming from some nutmeg. This thing just smells fantastic, and for a fresh fragrance, it's pretty long lasting. I've actually done some test sprays recently, and I got about 10 hours of longevity. I woke up the next day and I could still smell it on my wrist, so that's pretty impressive, again, for a fresh fragrance. Nonetheless, this is one that I'm really going to be looking forward to wearing this summer. It's a perfect fragrance for the warm weather, and it just smells fantastic. So again, from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, this is Gentle Fluidity Silver. So the next fragrance I picked up is coming from Calvin Klein, and this is actually the first Calvin Klein fragrance that I own. I've tried a few from the house, and they are pretty solid. I've tried CK1 Shock, Calvin Klein Eternity for Men, the Eau de Parfum version, and I like those quite a bit. This is actually an Eternity flanker, and like I said, this is the first fragrance from this house that I own. So again, from the house of Calvin Klein, this is Eternity for Men, Summer 2019. You can't really smell it. from the atomizer. But I haven't worn this yet. It is a pretty recent pickup, of course, but I did do a test spray, and what I got from this is it smells really very beachy. So I think summer is a good kind of descriptor for this, a good name for this fragrance. Like I said, it's sandy and beachy smelling, almost has this mineral quality to it, a little bit of the saltiness. There is a light citrusy touch, but I would not call this a citrusy forward fragrance by any means. You get kind of this creamy sweetness in the background coming from some amber, and it just smells like summer in a bottle, honestly. I honestly did get similar vibes to Dior Eden Rock, the new Privé fragrance. Not the exact same, but for the money difference, I think this is a pretty good kind of comparable fragrance if you're after something like that one, because that is very expensive. This one I picked up for 25 bucks. This is the 2019 flanker, so it might be a little bit harder to find nowadays, but if you can, I do think this is a pretty awesome fragrance for the summer, especially when you factor in the price. So again, from the house of Calvin Klein, this is Eternity for Men, Summer 2019. So my final pickup within the last 2 weeks or so, this one only came in a couple of days ago. I think I got it on Friday. This is coming from Zerjoff, and this is one of the hype monsters from the house. You see tons of people talk about this, and honestly, probably within this haul, this is the fragrance that I was the most excited to get. So again, coming from the house of Zerjoff, this is Alexandria II. Yeah, it smells really, really nice. There's actually the notes here on the back of the bottle because I did pick up a tester, which if you did not know, Zerjoff testers do come with caps, so I think it's worth saving the money. So as far as the notes go, I'll just read them to you. In the top, you have apple, cinnamon, rosewood, and lavender. In the mid, you have cedarwood, lily of the valley, and Bulgarian rose. Then the base notes, you have amber, sandalwood, musk, vanilla, and then you have Thai and Laotian ouds. So you get 2 types of ouds, and honestly, for an oud fragrance, I really don't get much of it. Like, if I smelled this without knowing the notes, I don't think I would necessarily detect the oud necessarily. It is maybe there, but it's very, very clean smelling. This is nice and aromatic. It has kind of this light quality to it, almost not like citrusy per se, but there is kind of this airiness to it. You kind of get this sweetness as well. And it does smell really, really nice, but what surprised me about this fragrance was as soon as I tried it, I thought of something. I had a scent memory and I was trying to figure it out. It took me like 10 minutes and then I got it. I get very similar vibes to Armani Code Eau de Parfum, which is the new 2021 release. And honestly, the Armani Code Eau de Parfum flanker does smell really similar to the Eau de Toilette. So you could even say that this smells kind of similar to the original Armani Code as well. Definitely not the same. I did spray the 2 on, like I had this one on my left wrist and I think I had Armani Code Eau de Parfum on my right wrist. And I was kind of comparing them back and forth, and there are definite differences, but there is a striking similarity between the 2 as well. I even did research online trying to see if other people got the similarity, and I hadn't seen anybody else mention it. So I don't know if I'm weird, I'm the only one that realizes that or not, but if you guys have tried both fragrances, please let me know if you get a similarity between the 2 as well. I'd be really curious to know about that. Nonetheless, this thing does smell fantastic. It lasts for a long time as well, so I can't complain about that. Again, from the house of Zerjoff, this is Alexandria II. Well, there you guys go. That was my weekly fragrance haul, episode 7. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, I would really appreciate dropping a like just to show your support, and then that way more people can see my videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you want to write a comment, maybe just let me know your thoughts, as well as some new video ideas or topics, that would be great too. And since you're down there doing all that stuff, if you have not already, if you could hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification, that would be amazing. That way you stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. But with all that out of the way, that's all I really have for you guys today. So I hope you have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.